Don't move. Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co-author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, John Molyneux. John is the host of Cold Calling and Closing Mastery podcast. If there's one thing you need to master this, which I'm still a student myself, we need to learn how to master in cold calling, because that really, if your checkbook and bank account is thin, is the real is you don't know how to cold call and closing mastery. That's the key part of every other thing you can outsource, but this part as a business owner, you need to learn and master this one. That's why we brought in our today's guest. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, John. John, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Siddique.
Hopefully, I didn't put enough pressure on you on the call, because it's a cold calling and closing mastery expert. You are the guy. John, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you are surrounded with that inspired you to become a host of a cold calling and closing mastery podcast?
Oh, what inspired me to do the podcast? Well, it was quite kind of a different journey. I started it off about 18 months ago, and I wasn't specifically targeting sales. It wasn't a sales show. It was called the Success Breeds Success Show. And I was interviewing other entrepreneurs and business owners and speakers and authors and actors and all sorts, anybody that was having success. And it was going okay, but what I found is there wasn't a lot of momentum, and I didn't have a big following. I'd have a few downloads here and a few downloads there. And after about 8 to 10 months, I was starting to question what was kind of not right. And I spoke to a few other podcasters, and they said, you're not getting your own message out there. You're interviewing all these guests, and you're getting these fantastic guests, but nobody knows anything about you or what you can do for people. So I started doing solo episodes on sales samurai episodes, because that's my brand, is the Sales Samurai. So I started doing solo episodes, and then I started to notice much more downloads for my own episodes than the guest ones. So I thought, well, there's definitely something in this. So I eventually decided to restructure and rebrand the show. One of the main reasons is because in the entrepreneur genre, there's hundreds of them. I was like a little small fish in a big pond with all the Grant Cardones and the Jordan Belforts, or whoever these big names are that have got these huge shows and big followings. So I thought, well, my specialty, if I niche down, really, it's not just sales, it's cold calling and closing. So I really did niche right down. So what I've noticed is I'm only targeting a specific audience with that. And I've noticed a huge difference in my downloads and my audience and everything since then.
Yeah, so it's like a matching your message with your target audience, because you know they have a pain in cold calling, because cold calling is many people are very shy. I'm not a shy. I'm still learning how to do it better. However, people say, "Oh, what if they say no? What if they hang up on me? What if? There's so many mistakes people do. They self-talk. They stop. They don't even call people. They say, "No, I'm thinking. Let me prepare myself before I call somebody," because they don't know you. They're not going to pick up my phone. I don't know what to really say. There is so much. Even the script sucks with most of the time what they say. Because you are the expert, I'm going to ask you to drill down and give us the specific. Before we talk about the specific things, what are the top 3 missteps people do when they cold call someone?
Well, there's so many to name. One of them is, like you say, you have a very defeatist mentality as a brand new salesperson. You kind of give up far too easily. If you get 1 or 2 people hang up on you, that's it. What you need to remember is, if you're going to be cold calling, you're going to get lots of people hanging up on you and telling you to F off and all that kind of stuff. You just have to suck it up, buttercup is the best way to put it. Because if you persevere and you get through that is how you will get customers. And if you're setting up a business, you have to be a bit thick-skinned, because business is going to throw lots of shit at you, to put it bluntly, isn't it? Life is going to throw shit at you. So if you can't even handle somebody putting a phone down on you, you're not going to have any luck in business anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that's one.
Okay, So that's
the first mistake is the self-defeating mentality. I love it. Go for more.
The second one is the fear of rejection. Nobody likes to be told no. So they have this fear of rejection before they even speak to somebody. So that's another thing that puts people off. And number three, it just has a bad reputation. Whenever somebody hears the word cold, or the two words cold calling, they sort of judder, don't they? Or they kind of just don't like the idea of it. So those three things put people off straight away.
Yeah, you say the fear of rejection, the getting a no. I'm sure you know the Chris Voss. You know, he is the author of Never Split a Difference. And I asked the question where the answer is no, is a yes, basically. He said, like, instead of say, is it a good time to talk? I say, is now a bad time to talk? You say no. I love the no because I reverse the question where the no is the yes, basically. You know?
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it, Siddique. For me, I just see a no as closer to a yes. So the more no's that I hear takes me one step closer to that yes. Because it's cold calling or door to door or whatever type of sales that you do, unless you're getting warm leads come to you, that's slightly different. But if you're cold calling, it's a numbers game, and it's as simple as that. So you need to think about maths. So if you think I'm going to call 10 people, out of them 10 people, I might get 1 or 2 people interested. Those are the ratios you need to think of. So if you call 100 people, you're going to get 20 people show a bit of interest. So the more connections you make, and the more calls you make, the better your chances are. It's all numbers and percentages.
Mm-hmm. Anna, we did a recent campaign a few weeks ago, not long ago, and I'm proud to share my response rate was 50% to yeses on a cold call.
Wow, that is really good. That's really good results. So that must mean that your offer or whatever you're putting out there is getting a really good reception. So that's really good results. You should be happy with that.
Yeah, but they didn't buy all of them. But however, the yeses, first yeses, you want to, because after that they start. Once you get the yes, to speak with them and they listen to the message, they show up on a Zoom webinar or something. Then after that, the cold calling is over. That's a closing mastery thing. That's a separate sales, another issue. Cold calling is just getting somebody to actually listen to you and show up on the follow-up commitment. Basically, that's the cold calling part. Is that right?
Exactly. Well, the way you describe somebody that's cold is they don't know who you are. They don't know what your business is. They don't know what your product is. They don't know anything about you. So that is what a completely cold person is. Once you've introduced yourself and they've taken a bit of a warm to you, and then they know a little bit about your products and what you're offering, they're no longer cold. So if you book that call from that point onwards, they start to get more warm and more receptive.
Mm-hmm. And you said they don't know you, they don't know your product or service. I like to add one more line on that one, John. And they are not expecting your call either.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So that is the part. They're not expecting your call. You are interrupting them every time. Whatever they are thinking and doing it, you say, come on, here's John's calling, Siddique calling, So who is this guy? They probably have who is this guy? I don't know. This guy is probably a spam, probably trying to sell me something. That's your job of having them take your call. Once anybody decided to take your call, then your job is to actually have them engage into the conversation. They can move on to your step. So what are your best kept secret of sequence of cold calling and messaging to make sure how you get the best response? What's your top success secrets on cold calling?
Well, there's so many different variants of having success with it, but one is just, like I say, getting that thick skin and not having the attitude that you don't care what they say to you. Because when somebody tells you no, or F off, or I'm not interested, or don't deal with cold callers, that's not a personal attack on you. That is just how they're feeling on that particular day. Zig Ziglar put it really well years ago. He said, you could cold call somebody or speak to somebody after they've had a really shit day. They've lost a job. They've had an argument with the wife. They've had all these things go on, and then you just happen to speak to them right at the end of that day or right after they've just had these things going on. So they're going to just take that out on you because you happen to be in their situation at that time. So you can't you have to be a bit thick-skinned, and you have to just think, right, on to the next one. But what I will say is if anybody is going to do, whether it's door-to-door cold calling or whether it is phone calling, this is a must for anybody, and it's what I call reset. So especially if you've had somebody that's been aggressive or horrible or mean to you and hung up, The last thing you want to do is, if somebody's just hung up on you and you've heard that sound, you don't want to pick the phone up again and ring somebody else, because you're fired up and you're not right, because then you're going to be a little bit angry, and then this person you speak to now could potentially be a sale or a client. You're already starting off on the wrong foot. So if you've just had somebody hang up on you, you want to step away, have a coffee. If you smoke, have a cigarette, listen to some music, have a break for 2 or 3, 5 minutes, and then jump back on the next call, because then you're refreshed and you've got the better mentality again, and you've got back the positivity, and then you're much in a better situation to make that next call.
Oh, this is a great. Definitely a great. So that's probably too much coffee in a whole day, because you are getting so many hang-ups.
You probably wouldn't get as many as you think. Not everybody is sort of horrible. Even if you cold call somebody, 9 times out of 10, even if they're not interested, they'll just say, "Oh, it's not really for me. Could you send me an email?" Or they'll try and give you an objection. So not everybody's going to be horrible to you and hang up the phone, even if they're not interested.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So what's the second one? Okay, this is the one good one. What's the second success secret you have?
The second success secret. Well, what are we still talking about purely for cold calling at the moment?
Yeah.
Give yourself daily and week. Well, I'd say daily goals is probably the best way. So you tell yourself, I'm going to do 20 phone calls in the morning. I'm going to do 30 phone calls in the afternoon, and make sure you stick to them numbers. Even if you get pissed off after 2 or 3 phone calls, even if you really had enough, have the discipline to keep going and do the calls that you've scheduled to do. So if you say you're going to do 20 in the morning, do 20 in the morning. If you say you're going to do 30 in the afternoon, do 30 in the afternoon. That way you can kind of you're showing that you're disciplined to yourself, but it makes a huge difference if you persevere and you do the things that you say. If you're flaky and you don't bother, then you're cutting your own chances, because I've already said it's a numbers game. So the more contacts you make, the more likely you are to get over the goal line.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Give us one more.
One more for cold calling. What would I say as well? Cold calling. I would say have a sense of humor with people wherever possible, because if you can have a laugh with somebody, even if they're not going to buy, it puts you in a good frame of mind for the next call. I remember when I used to do door-to-door cold calling. So I'd knock on a door and it'd slam in the face, and then I'd knock on the next door and they'd say, "Oh, I don't deal with cold callers." If I leave it at that and they close the door, it's kind of negative for me. But if I say, "Oh, I'm not a cold caller, it's quite warm today, look, the sun's shining," and you get a laugh with them, you've had a laugh together, and then you're in a better frame of mind for the next one. So if you can break the ice and have a bit of humor with somebody on the telephone as well, if you can have a laugh and a joke with them after the call's ended, even if they're not interested, the next call you're still in a good mood for the next person.
Yeah, no, this is good. So it's great. So let's do some role play, John. I'm so jealous. You're giving us so much golden nuggets. So let's do a role play. I like the last one. Say, Chris Voss says, "Oh, here's another sales call. You want to hang up on me?"
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. So, I've not tried this technique, but I've heard it's quite effective. So, say, Francis, you answer the phone and I'm ringing you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Is that Siddique? Have I got the right number?
Yes. What are you up to?
Oh, hi, Siddique. You don't know me. My name is John. This is a cold call, so don't hang up. I only want 30 seconds of your time. How's that? So you're just being honest with them straight away. So it's going to be more difficult for them to hang up. If I just said, "Yeah, this is John. I'm calling from high professional coaching. How are you doing today?" You're going to go, "Oh, yeah." But if I say, this is a cold call. I only want 30 seconds of your time. How's that? So it's hard to say no then, isn't it?
Yeah. Because you already took the 10 seconds anyway. They say, "Okay, let me see what he got."
Exactly. But if you start droning on, they're going to think, "Oh, he's going to keep talking forever." But if you say, "I only need 30 seconds of your time. If it's not for you, you can hang up then." How's that?
Yeah.
So it's you kind of feel obliged to spend at least 30 seconds with me then, don't you?
Yeah. So how do you say that? Do you speak fast or slow, or try to engage them into about?
That's a good question, Siddique. What you need to do is listen to the type of person that's on the other end of the phone. If they're quite, if they're quite, if it's a chap like myself and they're quite powerful sounding, or they sound like a strong bloke or whatever, you can pretty much speak on the same level as them. But if it's somebody that's like oh hello, it's like a lady with a very soft spoken voice, then you have to say, oh hi, I'm John. How are you doing today? Does that make sense? So you want to try and mirror or especially get the same tonality so they feel warm to you. If it's a lady, she goes, hello, and I go, oh hi, love, how are you doing? Are you all right today? And that's gonna put her off. So she go, oh, and she'll probably just hang up, won't she? So if you try and get on the same level as them straight away, it's kind of like the mirroring techniques, like that Tony Robbins talks about and that kind of thing. When you're in person, you mirror them and you copy the movements and the hand gestures and that kind of thing. You're doing that, but subtly with your own voice over the phone. So you don't have to necessarily see each other, but you can still use them same techniques.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So, John, in a cold calling and a closing on a sales, you get a lot of no's and rejections and failures. That's too many, probably to list. I want you to share your best professional failure you like to share with us. What did you learn from it, and how did you recover from that?
Well, again, that's a good question, Siddique, but it's not about recovering from it, because all success is a series of failures, isn't it? But
yeah.
When you see these big influencers or the Hollywood actors or keynote speakers and stuff, and they're on the stage and they look smart and they've got all the money and all that, you don't see the journey that they've had there, do you? Or the stuff that they're still struggling with day to day. Yeah. Everybody just sees them on this pedestal. They don't see the battles that they've been through and the no's that they've received or the failures that they've had. But the way I look at it is, a successful salesperson is only successful because they've failed and failed and failed and failed and failed again.
Yeah, wonderful. So how the Growth Hacking Secrets Show community can support you?
Well, you can support me at the moment. I'm putting a lot of my content on Instagram. I think for me, the Instagram is kind of growing slightly for me. I'm spending a lot of time on Clubhouse as well, so I'm hosting my own rooms in there. So yeah, my Instagram handle is Samurai JM80, or you can go to the link that's just on the screen now, so that you can find my book there. I've got the Sales Samurai Master book, which is available on Amazon and Kindle. And you can also check out my show, Cold Calling and Closing Mastery. That's available on all the major platforms. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, iHeart. So it's on all of the bigger platforms.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you want to master the cold calling, because I know we didn't really focus too much on closing mastery thing. But however, the cold calling is the starting point. You get them, and closing mastery is easy.
Yeah. Well, I think the closing is it's just as an important skill as the cold calling. But I think if you're a new business and you haven't got a big budget for say Facebook ads or marketing or paid ads and that kind of thing, cold calling is the very best thing you can do for your business, because it costs you nothing apart from your phone bill, which is peanuts, isn't it? So if you get over that fear of picking that phone up and calling businesses that are related to you, or individuals that are related to you, or potentials. At the moment, I'm cold calling for a coach. We've got a collaboration going on, and she's helping me put all the framework together for my group coaching. I'm offering group coaching and one-on-one coaching. You can feel free to reach out to me about that as well if you're interested. Mm-hmm. So I'm just putting the framework to that together, but in return, we're not paying each other for the service. I'm cold calling on her behalf, so I'm connecting and ringing coaches for her. So that works really well.
Oh, you are not as good as you think, John. You are smarter, so you are better. Yeah, you have worked with your coach too, to like, hey, I do my part, you do your part, and we exchange the service, so that way everybody wins, mutual.
Well, what's the point in me paying her for a service and her paying me for a separate service when we can just collaborate and help each other?
And save on Uncle Sam too. So.
Yeah. Well, it might be Uncle Sam for you, but it's Queen Victoria for me, or whoever else is running the show, Boris Johnson.
Okay, wonderful, John. I appreciate the opportunity, and I loved it. I know it's a hard topic. However, the business life depends on this cold calling and closing mastery, definitely. So you have been
Absolutely.
a guest on my show, Growth Hacking Secret Show. I'd like to have your quick, feedback on this. What would you say to your best friend about Growth Hacking Secret Show when I'm not there?
I would say you have to check out Siddique's show. He's got some fantastic guests, and I've already checked a couple of them out already. And I'm sure he's going to keep bringing value and more fantastic guests in the future as well.
Thank you for your kind words. Really appreciate it. As we are about to wrap up, what would you say as a final word?
I would say, through my own personal experience, if you have something that you want to achieve, don't let yourself talk you out of it. So we can be our own worst enemies sometimes, can't we? So don't let yourself talk you out of it, or any of your friends and family, because a lot of the time your friends and your family, the closest people to you, are the ones that are going to talk you out of your own goals, because from their position, they think they're helping you or they care about you, but they're not. In a lot of respects, they can be holding you back.
Yeah, it's very well said. And this is true everywhere in the world, not only in the UK. This
Yeah, absolutely.
every home is being discussed the same. No, no, no. They want you to be. They want to take care of you. They want you to feel safe. However, that's not where the success belongs. It's outside of the box. You have to get uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Nobody ever grows by staying in the comfort zone. So I always try and reach out of my comfort zone with doing speaking gigs or doing things that I've not done before or not comfortable with. So that is the way you're going to grow.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much, John, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of a Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is
It's been a
Mohammed
pleasure.
signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.